In the last section, I'm going to be going through section F, analysing and evaluating, which is again worth 20 marks. In this section, we will talk about looking at your final product and checking whether it meets all of the criteria and things that your client wanted. To make sure you get the top marks in this section, 16 to 20, we need to make sure there is extensive evidence that various iterations are as a direct result considering to links and testing. There needs to be analysis and evaluation of the prototype, including feedback from third parties. So basically not just yourself, asking other people for their opinions on how it turned out. There needs to be comprehensive testing of all aspects of the prototype against the design brief and specification. We need to have fully detailed and justified reference made to any changes that are proposed to be undertaken. And this part here, which is excellent ongoing analysis and evaluation evident throughout the project that clearly influences the design brief and the design and manufacturing specifications. So basically what that means is that's the reason why we put all of our evaluation boxes throughout the whole project. So on every page you're concluding what you've changed and having an evaluation to say how that particular party's got that particular thing. So the evaluation is not just something that is a summative thing that happens at the end. You are evaluating everything you do, from the research to the design ideas to the development, making sure that you're evaluating and making changes as we go through. So what will that look like in terms of the last evaluation section? There are 3 pages. So the first page will look something like this. So here you need to evaluate compared to your specification. So the first thing to do is find your specification, which I believe is on page 8, and write down all your specification points here that need to be then evaluated against. You then need to evaluate against your specification, talking about if it met it or if it didn't meet it. It is perfectly okay and actually good if you have things that don't quite meet your specification. It gives you then an opportunity later on to make those and have suggested improvements. So you need to justify the reasons why it does or it doesn't, and what this student chose to do is also RAG rate. So give it a green for it totally meets, orange for partially meets, and then red for it doesn't meet at all. So you need to find your specification criteria and then evaluate your final product compared to that. It's also, I would suggest adding in something, evaluating it against your design brief. So add in your design brief as a column to show that you've also considered, does it meet what you fully intended to do at the beginning? And then there's an evaluation box at the beginning showing, concluding what you found out and what you think about the whole evaluation process. The next page is getting feedback from your client and also your people in your target market. You can ask your client direct questions about what they feel about the product. You can also find out from a range of different people how they feel. So you need to come up with a questionnaire that you can ask them, give them the product to actually interact with and trial and find out their genuine opinions. This will give you data that you can put in charts and graphs that you can then analyse and think about actually what improvements you might make as a result of their genuine opinions. It's best to get real people to do this and actually interact with your product. Some students try and make it up, but this is obvious to the examiner, so it's actually better to have genuine opinions and ask them to be honest about what they really think, as this will be a lot more useful moving forward. Then we move on to the last page of the NEA, which is talking about improvements. So as a result of your testing, as a result of everything that's gone before, you then need to suggest final improvements that you will make. You need to have a variety of different improvements that you will need to make, detailing why you're making those changes, and also think about what changes you will make if your product was going to be manufactured in industry. For most of your product, you'd have made it in-house using hand tools. If it was going to be made in an industrial setting, this would be made in a completely different way, using industrial manufacturing techniques like injection molding and things like that. So think about your product, anything that would be made differently, and the changes that will need to be made as a result. And all of these need to be documented in sketches, in CAD, and examples all the way through, justifying what is for. And that basically brings us to the end of the NEA and the end of criterion E, evaluating your product. Remember that the evaluation process is something you need to do throughout the whole project, not just at the end, to ensure that you get good marks in this section.